Homeland Security now investigating a major cyber attack that basically shut down popular websites like Twitter, Amazon, and Netflix all across the East Coast today. Web technology provider Dynamic Network Services was hit with what are called two massive denial of service attacks, which can knock websites offline and by flooding them with a ton of junk data. Joining me now is cybersecurity expert Morgan Wright. Investigators, Morgan, thank you so much for coming on. They originally thought the attack could have been a nation-state attack, but now they're saying that no, it's not a nation-state attack. What are you hearing now?
Well, it's interesting. There's a couple things that came out. Brian Krebs, whose site got taken offline by a very similar denial of service attack, and this same company, Dyn, published a paper critical of a competitor talking about their tactics and how it pushed the envelope. So there's been, and this is all open source right now, so there's been some discussion of that. It clearly was a targeted attack, Liz. It was designed to go after just a certain segment. They didn't ask for anything. In other words, it's not like holding you for ransom. There was no, taking claim for victory of something. So we don't know what it is yet, so everybody don't rush to judgment yet, think that it's Russia at this point. But, it could be a variety of things, but we do know that it used a lot of different devices that haven't been used before or not commonly think, like web cameras, DVRs, and this was a tsunami of data. This was, this is huge. I helped investigate the first denial of service attacks back in February of 2000. That paled in comparison to this one today.
So what does this mean for people who use Amazon and Netflix out there and Twitter? What's going to happen?
You're going to get some interruptions in service. Look, fortunately, these things are not life and death, although to some people, Twitter, Facebook maybe are. But, it's not life and death, so nothing's going to happen. I would get more concerned when we start going after critical infrastructures like banking, like energy, transportation, healthcare, public safety. So that's my real concern. I think these were targeted to go after non-critical things, even though they drive a lot of business and people are in the business of making money.
Stay with me.
These things were not public safety.
You're worried about a very vulnerable U.S. power grid. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, and absolutely. The black energy, the Russians, we know, were behind the black energy attacks in Ukraine, December 23rd, 2015, 700,000 homes. What if this is reconnaissance? This is probing. We don't know who's behind it yet, but this exposes, even if it's not the same actors, this exposes vulnerabilities in the domain name service that need to get fixed.
Let's go move on to a major vulnerability. A former NSA contractor.
Wow.
He was with Booz Allen. He will be charged with what could be the largest, most historic theft of classified government material ever. Prosecutors say Harold T. Martin, you're looking at him right now, he stole an astonishing quantity, that's a quote, of classified digital and other data over 20 years. This has been going on since 1996. What did he do with the data? Well, we know for now that he kept it in his car, his home office, a shed on his property. The documents apparently, Morgan, basically detail some of the country's most secret intelligence operators. And they may file more serious charges. Remember, this comes on the heels of Ed Snowden, who also worked with an outside contractor. What do you make of this?
I actually taught behavior analysis out at the National Security Agency, taught to the damage assessment agents who are the people doing this right now. Here's what this tells me, Liz. It's that every 5 years, especially when you have the type of clearances it takes to work at the National Security Agency, not only do you go through a reinvestigation, you go through a polygraph. So my first question is, how did this guy pass a polygraph? Not once, twice, but it looks like maybe 3 to 4 times. And where were the controls in place to prevent these kind of things from going out? Let's put it in perspective. One of the reports is that he had 50 terabytes of information. That's 10 Libraries of Congress. That's a stack of 125 million pages of documents that would go 50 miles high. That's the amount of information we're talking about here, and how he was able to get it out the door. Boy, if somebody doesn't get fired over this, I don't know what it's going to take.
Yeah, it's quite a development. Thank you, Morgan. We also, watch this, we've got House Judiciary Committee Chairman Bob Goodlatte raising concerns about a top Clinton advisor's use of laptops made by a company with long suspected ties to the government of China. Intelligence concerns here. It's about storing former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's emails. We'll bring you any further developments. Morgan, what do you think of that?
There are been a long time when IBM sold Lenovo to China. Sold their ThinkPad division to Lenovo, which is a Chinese company. I can tell you, because I was working at one of the companies, immediately switched out every single laptop to an American-made manufacturer. So there have been concerns, and we know from the revelations of these tools, these NSA hacking tools, that there are ways to get past, build things into the firmware, the actual the hardware inside the laptop, to where you can actually activate Trojan horses, collect data. I mean, our government does a lot of that. So yeah, I'm very concerned when we start seeing these things. People trust the laptops. They don't think about it when they get it.
Okay, Morgan, thank you so much for your time. We really
You bet,
appreciate
Liz.
it.